Hello everyone, I'm Rob Shenton and I do a video to explain the 3 rules of 3 that I learned from doing 3 particular marathons, and those marathons were the Marathon des Sables, the Everest Marathon and the North Pole Marathon. My original aim was to set out to do marathons which were the toughest, highest and coldest in the world. However, there is much debate to which those are. I set my mind on those 3, the Marathon des Sables, Everest and North Pole marathons. So the slide that I've got on the screen at the moment I'm showing you are basically my 3 rules of 3, but in the center is the essence of what a well-balanced life should look like. And you can Google those and look at them online at your leisure. So if I go through the well-balanced life just really quickly, first of all, one of the first things is to give and give something. And I've got into volunteering quite a lot over the last few years, and I found out that really is quite helpful for me and also makes me feel better in myself, and I get to meet people as well. If you can't give something, if you can't give your time, then at least give someone a smile. When you're passing someone in the street, smile at them, or if somebody says hello to you, say hello back. Can mean a lot to other people, and you don't know what's going through their mind at the time. Next thing is keep learning. Throughout all my marathons, I've learned something. I've had to work out what sort of terrain I'm going through, how far I'm going to run, and how I'm going to make those sort of things work. So therefore, I've had to learn a lot. And by learning a lot about the marathons and then doing the marathons, I then inadvertently learned stuff about myself. You're never too old to learn. It keeps your mind active as well. Then it's be active. Well, be active is quite straightforward, really, because you are going to be active by doing some physical activity. But do as much as you can when you can without overdoing it. Also, it's important to maintain that physical aspect of your life. At the end of the day, we weren't designed to sit in chairs and be at a desk all day. We're designed to run, jump, climb trees and chase after potential food from years ago. Second is take notice. I always practice, I do try to practice mindfulness. But what that's taught me is I'm able to take notice of more of the things when I'm running, for example, or more of the things that are good for me in my life. So therefore, it has helped me step back. I did really struggle with mindfulness until somebody said to, because it's about being in the present, understanding what's going on in your body at the time, and being able to appreciate that. And I struggled with that, but then it clicked when I realized it was connected. I could connect it with an element of running. Because when you run, you're getting messages back from your body. Your foot hurts, your leg hurts, something's aching, or you're pushing yourself too far and you're breathing too fast, your chest is hurting, and things along those lines. So therefore, as soon as I connected what I was feeling with running with mindfulness, my mindfulness came on leaps and bounds. And finally, connect. Connections which are important in your life are probably the ones which are coming through the door when other ones are leaving. Also, all the marathons that I've done, I couldn't do it by myself. I had to have a virtual team around me in order to do them. So therefore, connect with people, connect with people, connect with groups. One of the best things I did was join an athletics club and connect with other runners and athletes there. And it gives me a mutual understanding. There's a mutual benefit, but also there's a mutual gain because you're learning off other people and they learn from you. So that's basically the bit about in the center about the well-balanced life. The next bit is about is the first thing I learned on the Marathon des Sables, and that's called food, physical activity, or I call physical activity phys. When holding down a busy job and trying to work as well as training for the Marathon des Sables, it takes a lot of time. When one of your training runs is 50 miles, if you leave at 7 o'clock in the morning and don't necessarily finish till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then therefore it's going to take a lot of the elements and time out of your life. So therefore, I had to work out what balance I needed in life in order to maintain what I wanted to do. And for me, the important things was the balance of food, phys, and sleep. Sleep was absolutely critical, but I'll come on to that later. Food element, it does make a difference if you start eating rubbish. You can't be an athlete. You can't put diesel in a Ferrari. You can't be an athlete if you're eating the wrong foods. You can't. So therefore, even though we're not generally all athletes, we're not all Chris Akabusis or Ewan Thomases, but we are. But actually, if you consider what you're eating and when you're eating it and how much of it you're eating, it can really affect you as a person. And the benefits that you learn from knowing what sort of the right foods to eat does make a difference. Next is sleep. Sleep is the most important thing. For me, I realized that recovery was critical, and most of my recovery is taking place when I'm sleeping. Therefore, it was important to get that balance right. If you don't get enough sleep, if I don't get enough sleep, it makes me feel grouchy, it makes me feel tired, and therefore that has an effect, a spiraling effect on depression and mental health. So therefore I start to lose control. Often in life, if we're so busy, the first thing to go is sleep. We'll work late, get to bed later, or we'll wake up early, go to work earlier because we want to get that work done. And actually that can have a detrimental effect all around. I challenge anyone to take the 7 to 8 hours sleep challenge a week. And that's where you try to get 7 to 8 hours sleep a night for 7 days. The majority of people will benefit from that. There is a small minority that won't. But at least by doing that, you're going to find out what sort of person you are. And you'll probably benefit from it, undoubtedly. The next one I learned from the Everest Marathon, and that was threat, drive, and soothe. Now, apparently, this is something that regulates your emotional regulation system. It controls your emotional regulation system. We react if we are under threat. If somebody is going to attack you, you are going to react in some way. If somebody is going to challenge you at work, or if someone's going to impose a deadline on you, you will react to that deadline. It doesn't matter how you react, but you will react. You'll either work hard or you'll say, you know, I've got the energy, I will try to keep ahead of them because I want to maintain my position in that race. Drive is another thing. We're driven. We are driven as human beings. We are driven to be able to save money to buy a car, to be able to save money to put a deposit down on a house. We're driven to get promotion at work. We are driven if we want to get a pay rise. We're driven to do things because we want and desire them. In a running race, I'm driven to get a personal best. So I'll push myself to get a personal best time on a certain event. So we all often work in threat and drive. And for me personally, the threat and drive came as a big, I was ignoring it too much after a period of time in my life where I'd come back from an operational tour in Afghanistan. Because I thought I was rubbish, it made me feel rubbish and it put me into a depressed state. I'd be sat on the train in the morning, worrying how bad I did yesterday in my mind, worrying what things I had to do that day, and I'd feel rubbish. So I'd think I was rubbish and I'd feel rubbish. And then because I had low self-esteem, I'd probably do things to confirm that. So I'd probably go, you know what, I can't go out with my friends tonight because I don't feel good. And so I put things off. I wouldn't go out for that run. I wouldn't go out for that meal. I put things off and I start isolating myself. And as a depressive, isolating yourself is quite critical. It's something you probably need to avoid. I know I hit a low after I've done a large running event or I've done something good. And that then leads to isolation. So therefore, after those events, I always book in to try and see people and meet people and be around people to help prevent me hitting a much higher low than I would not normally. So that's think, feel, do. Then at the bottom of the slide that you can see there is have a fallback. I mentioned this in numerous other presentations. I won't go into too much depth here, but have a fallback plan. If something goes wrong, what are you going to do? When people say, I hit a low point, I was in a dark area, let's just be absolutely honest about that. That low point and dark area is probably about some of us thinking, how do I end my life? How do I give up? So therefore, have a fallback plan that will jolt you out of that position. And that fallback plan could be revolving around ringing a partner, speaking to a partner, speaking to a parent, a pal, or even going for a walk with your pet, assuming it's a dog. Not something that you're walking with, but having time with things that that really mean a lot to yourself. Your parents, your pals, your pets, your friends, those sort of things. So basically that fallback plan is critical. And for me, if you see in my other presentation, it saved my life. And it saved my life on more than one occasion. I personally think by sticking to this model, my 3 rules of 3, this is personal to me, but take elements of a way that work for you. Because I was coming out of 20 odd years of depression, and I still suffer from depression. I'm a recurrent depression, but I was first of all getting onto a really good place, and then had an accident and broke my neck. And I think part of the reason why I recovered so well from that is because I was looking after these areas, and I was strong because of these areas. And therefore, I was able to spot things while I was recovering from a broken neck because I was appreciating myself and going, no, Rob, you're in the threat now. You need to back off and take yourself away from the situation. Or, you know what, Rob, you've been eating all the wrong foods because you're really sorry about yourself and sitting in bed, which is quite right. So now you need to concentrate on eating the right foods because you're going to start to get active again and you need to start looking after your life. And that all connects me with thinking. So that's it. This is the stuff that people have asked me about many times. So I hope it's useful to you, and I hope it's useful to anyone who's listened to this. Please do feel free to pass it on. Feel free to get in touch with me. I'm happy to do presentations if I've got the time. Thank you.